Students, welcome to our new module. This is the overview for our module on reflective writing. Before you begin this module, please make sure you have wrapped up the previous one and our last week with our WP2, the rhetorical analysis final revision. Now this module has a little bit, it's a different setup because it's just for kind of one main assignment. So instead of having our assignment scaffolded over several weeks, we will have our last week of class with finals. So it is a smaller timeline, but we will not be doing going through the writing process from start to finish. So you will not have the, for example, you will not have a peer review workshop for this. You will not have a first draft and final draft. It is just a single draft submission for this writing project, okay? Because at this point, you have experienced two different writing situations. You have experienced, well, actually way more than two when you look at all the different types of assignments you've done, but for the writing projects too. And now you are going into the last assignment. Think of this one kind of as it's not an exam in the sense that it weighs more, but it's the you're on your own. You know, we've taken the training wheels off a little bit, so to speak. So, but I still have some assignments to help prep you. Okay, so let's go over those. So the overview, make sure you pay attention to the overview. It always has the introductory materials, the objectives, and of course, any information you need to know. And I have given you an estimated time breakdown because since you'll have less assignments overall to get to that final, to get to the paper part, the project. But because of the small timeline, I've given you an estimate of how long, a time range of how each part of that process will take. Also, make sure you pay attention to the deadlines, because the deadlines are final, because we are at the last part of the semester, which includes our finals week. So think of this as your final, because it is your final assignment. It's not an exam, but it is a paper, and this is the final unit, the final essay, the final writing project. Everything in this module is your last. These are your last assignments of the semester. So that's important. So let's start with the official assignment sheet. You do have the dates and the time breakdown and all that here as well. But the assignment sheet gives you the prompt, so make sure you understand that this is what you're addressing. This is what the essay is answering. Okay. The overview is the setup information, and you have some assignment specifics here, and your format and requirements. Okay, so this is page 2 gives you a little bit of a guide. So this is my guide I'm giving you with some engaging questions that you can use to help think about and get some ideas down for your paper. Now, these questions are guiding questions. You do not have to answer them all. And I've organized them by part of essay. I thought this might be a helpful way to present the guide, is not just to give the questions, but to give questions that I thought might be good ones to consider for say, like this first one is for your introduction. Okay. The second one is focused on questions that would help you think about, how reflecting on what you learned about communication from the personal narrative. This next section is giving you questions to help you think about what you learned about communication doing your rhetorical analysis in that particular rhetorical situation. And then on the third one, yes, you are actually reflecting on your current assignment. So you're reflecting on a new rhetorical situation. You're reflecting on your current writing situation while you were working on it. So that's a little bit meta, I realize, but I think that's, but your current writing situation matters just as much as the previous ones. And of course, some concluding considerations. So use that as a guide. I've also given you a smart book to kind of dip your feet in, learn a little bit, the need to know information about this type of writing, this type of writing situation. What questions do we want to ask and think about, even though I've given you a few of those up there in your guide. You will have a reflection writing resources handout and video with a quiz that follows up on those. So make sure when you look at this that you do, there's a handout. I gave it to you in a couple different formats, same information. With the knowledge check question, the video that I like this video a lot. I think it's easy to understand. It's helpful, has, a lot of what you need to know about reflective writing, and with a couple knowledge check questions. Those might help prepare you for the quiz on those two resources. So the quiz is going to ask, you have a couple attempts to do that. I think actually you might have 3 attempts, to do that, to answer those questions on those resources. Then you have a drafting guide that I provided you. This is my my guide helping you think about your reflective, I'm calling it a reflective rhetorical essay, because you are reflecting on rhetorical, your knowledge and your understanding, what you've learned about communicating and rhetoric. That's really what you're writing about. So you can use this guide to help you. Also, I have a journal assignment. The journal assignment is asking you to just show your pre-writing. This doesn't have to be you don't have to use whatever is here, because it's just pre-writing. So get some ideas down, try at least one of these techniques, or 2, however many you think it takes to meet that word count. And so if it takes 2, do 2. If it takes 1, do 1. But you have to show the pre-writing. Don't just talk about it. Show it. Post that here. And that'll get you started while you work to help you prepare your draft. Of course, I'm going to repost the MLA format presentation just in case you need it. And then you will submit your draft. So this is the one and only draft. I'm not calling it a first draft. I'm not calling it a final draft. I'm grading it just as yes, it is a summative assessment, so you will be evaluated on it like a regular assignment. So you are expected to complete your assignment using the writing process, going through the writing process. No, you won't have a peer review assignment this time, but you know how to seek feedback. You have Brain Fuse, you have your AI to use for feedback ethically, not to rewrite the paper for you. There is a difference. To ask it questions, to give you feedback, to use it like a tutor. So you have resources. You have your human resources. Look around, even though you might not be using your peers from class, maybe a peer that you have access to, maybe a family member can give you some feedback on your paper. If you want to make a conference with me, I will be available as well. So use your resources and to help you get that drafted down and to make a few improvements on it before you submit. Okay, and I will be available during my office hours. We will still have those of you who are enrolled in NCBW, we will still have our NCBW meetings through the last week of class. So I will be here if you need help. Have a great week, everyone. You are almost to the finish line. Just hang in there and make sure that you reach out if you need help.